I think as a gender focal point in a very difficult context, you have to grasp the opportunity, you know. Most of us have different portfolios aside from gender, so mainstreaming it within your own portfolio would be the first step. Then trying to convince hierarchy, I think, would be the second step. And then trying to work with the local gender champions, you know. Even though you don't have money, being with them, talking with them, being aware, communicating about what they do can also help them, you know, increase their knowledge or their way of working. And I think at the end of the day, already talking about it, even though we don't have seed money, but making people aware about it, it's already doing a lot, you know, because it will grow. People will think about it when they see information, when they see situations, they will say, oh, that's true, you know, they told me about that. So it will grow with them. It's tough to start, but it's not that it's worth it, it's a necessary step. If hierarchy is not committed, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because it is an important issue, and when you go to your colleagues and some of them tell you, no, I don't have any gender issue in my program, you're like, this is not possible, you know. But yeah, you feel a little bit like you're on the boat and you're trying to get ahead and someone is behind you just going the other side around. But 80% of success is about resilience. So just keep on doing what you want to do and keep on focusing on the end result. Keep on talking to people and you'll get there. The EU has recently been looking into what the informal sector is all about. And when you talk about women, most of the women are in this informal sector because they don't have the means in terms of capacity and be it knowledge or monetary capacity to integrate into the formal sector. And most of the countries, in Africa at least, tend to see the informal sector as an unfair competition instead of seeing it as it is, which is a pool of very poor workers which are trying to make a living. And that's where you will find most of the women working. So in my previous delegation, I'm the economist in my current and in my former delegation. And we're also working on trade, and we started a dialogue with the government about the informal sector, explaining them, you know, those guys are not trying to get across the tax system. What they're trying to do is survive without having to obey by the rules because your rules are too complex and too costly. So we managed to get a dialogue and we managed to include them into our programs, specifically on TVET. So informal sector could access training on SMEs development if they were registered with the trade ministry. So this is the first step. So include them into the dialogue and try to see them as productive actors, because at the end of the day, gender inequality is like poverty. So you exclude part of your population, and I tend to see we are not a minority, you know, because people tend to say, you know, women and other minorities, and I'm like, we are more than half of the population in the world, so you can't consider us as a minority. So in an economy, if you set aside all the poor and all the women, who's going to be productive, you know? So you actually putting aside a lot of ideas, a lot of productive capacity, a lot of innovation capacity that you're not taking advantage of. And I believe if we have a dialogue with governments and present it that way, they will see the potential of having equality to be like a driver for the country's development.